They'll be calling you a radical. Kevin Blanch, I got to throw this video up. This is important stuff, and this is why it's so important as an academians are worthless right now, and why you have to do the work. I've got information on the Wells death that nobody else in the world has, because I actually walked. And as I walked, I found a lot of stuff. Before I talk about the dead whales and the information that I have, I want to talk about, San Francisco's reporting it right now, they're getting beached grays. I want to talk about this. Before I do this, I want to explain. Here at Weber State, my university, I run into a guy right now as I'm getting ready to do a video, and he's got this boat, and it's something .org, whatever. And I says, well, what are you doing here? He says, I'm speaking, I'm an oceanographer. Oh, right up my alley, great. So I have a conversation with him, and I says, well, Fukushima's in the Pacific Ocean's in a free fall. The sardines are now 91%. He just looked at me like he was numb, like there was something the matter with his brain. And I'm like, you're not, you take that out on the water? Yeah, I've been all over the world on it. Well, have you been on the Pacific? Yeah. Well, you obviously know about Fukushima. What? I swear it, you cannot make this up. He didn't know what Fukushima was. Well, I haven't been for several years. You're giving a lecture, a paid spot lecture on the ocean. Didn't know about I says, you know the sardine catch is down 91%. You know the hundreds of thousands dying. No, I didn't know any of this. This is why you have, wow. Beyond the emperor has no clothes. So this is the information I have that nobody else has, and this is why it's important. You got to have to do it. When I'm walking, okay, it's prime time for the gray whale migration. Prime time, dead pine trees everywhere, dead mama sea lions everywhere. Well, there's up there at Gorda, people come in all over and stay in that little hotel or whatever up on the top to watch for grays. So it's about a 40-mile stretch. Took me 4 or 5 days to walk it. I'm walking it all day, every day, sleeping on the cliff, so I'm there 24/7. Meet this guy at the motel, this little motel that sits out over the ridges, and he sits there and he's a writer and he watches grays. Been doing it for 40 years. I says, well, haven't seen one gray, not one. Really? Has that ever happened? Never. Never. So I get up further, nothing. I run into a ranger, and this ranger comes up to me and I'm like, what about the ecology of the ocean? And he's like, the ecology of the ocean? Well, you know, I picked up, he knew about Fukushima. He says, I've picked up a lot of debris. So I'm like, okay, what about the grays? I saw a couple grays, he says. You know, and that's all I said. We talked, blah, 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 back and forth. He didn't have a clue. And by the way, by the time I got done with him, state park ranger, he had a Pacific Genocide bumper sticker I gave him on his truck. But anyway, so as we went along, I'm going along, nothing. Till I get clear up there by the Bixby Bridge, I saw some grays. I'm talking to people, hey, there's some grays. They're taking selfies right there. Oh, look, we're taking selfies of squirrels. I said, there's some grays, you know how rare that is to see grays. So anyway, it's being reported, 4 dead whales in the last few days through the same region that I was just at. Well, I didn't know this. I got up to Monterey. I get up to Monterey, I go to the aquarium on Cannery Road. This woman comes walking right up to me. I'm filming inside there. She comes up, she's Kevin Blanch. She knew me. Seen your videos. She's a retired marine biologist from UCLA. My husband's a retired marine biologist from Cal Berkeley. I says, oh, you're right at my house. And we talked. She says, we keep track of the grays. She says, look, I've got something I really need to tell you. We're tracking them. And she says, you know, they go all the way to Mexico. Not this year. They're giving birth here, right, Carmel, Monterey. She says, I've never seen anything like it. And this very old lady, she also told me, she says, my son and daughter are both marine biologists, one at UCLA, whatever, and she says, they don't even care. I says, yeah, they're just, she says, they have no passion. They were wonderful people, her and her husband. We talked for a long time. Oh, they got it. And she wouldn't let me do a video. Well, nobody will, which is crazy to me how nobody is willing, because we're America, home of the cowards. I mean, money before life. I mean, the ocean's dying, you're not willing to make a stand. Well, nobody is. So anyway, it's being reported 4 whales. I mean, it's unheard of, by the way. It's unheard of. Well, it makes perfect good. Thesis says the one had its tongue ripped out, part of it. I thought maybe attacked by an orca. Would make sense. They're in waters they've never been. They're confused. The whole ecology's so messed up, they're confused. Then they said the other one, you know, looked like it maybe been struck by a boat. They're traveling in channels they're not used to traveling in. It's obvious. But then the other one, okay, what's the other one washed up? And now, you know, they have that data within days. It's been days now, and they says, oh, scientists, we still don't have, because they step in, tell them, stand down, don't say another, we'll spoil your funding. You know, I've been told that at the Helen Caldecott Symposium 2 years ago. Dr. Abrams, who's recently passed, I think, He said that they had cage tuna in their private sanctuary at Monterey that had cesium in it. And soon, I went there, tried to talk to them. They won't speak. You go up and down the coast. Tim's been up and down the coast, all Oregon. I've been up and down all of them. I talked to all of them. I've been in every marine, I've been at Scripps, I've been at all. I've been every marine biologist, I talked to them all. They won't talk. They say, oh yeah, well, they just look at you like they're hypnotized. So, hello. Okay, hundreds of thousands starving to death, mama sea lions. California first says, oh, the sardines are further out, and then they back up and says, oh, wait a minute. The fishermen are saying there are no sardines. Sardine collapsed down 91%. The 4-year salmon run's going to come in well less than 50% down. It came in Alaska. Alaska's final number came in. Now remember, they go to sea for 4 years. Fukushima 4 years ago, down 72%. I mean, this is big stuff. Whales not making it all the way. The ecology, and then they want to call it the blob, the plume, the heat. So I'm talking to the lead guy at Monterey in the aquarium, the top dog. He's quite the cat, by the way. And I'm talking to him, and I'm like, well, water temperature, what's the water temperature today? He says 56 degrees. I says, what's it supposed to be? 56 degrees. What's it been? Is it been heated up like? No, it's right on. And I'm like, well, that's California's telling us. Okay, the big pines all dead. First they said beetles, then they backed up and says, oh, we core drilled the big massive ones out there by Bixby Bridge, those iconic historic ones, solar radiation. And I'm like, okay, yeah, the atmosphere is getting hotter. We've had hot summers. And I want to say this about Japan and San Onofre. Japan, 48 reactors offline. They told us even if one went offline, it would be a catastrophe. The grid would go down. All 48 offline for 4 years. They haven't fired up backhoe things. They haven't done anything. NATO, one good thing he did right before he left, it's true. He got through the solar initiative that's even stronger than the the United States is going to try to pull the plug. They're there for one reason, to make nuclear bombs to point at China and South Korea. That's all they are. It's this. They've gone control. They're completely out of control. 48, that's impossible equation. San Onofre, they told us, made up 12% of the grid. They've been down for 4 years. Sandy rolling blackout? Hottest summers in the history of the United States. Technology race price, it's a lie. It's the biggest cash cow. Price Anderson, look it up, Price Anderson. The whole world's anti-nuclear. And by the way, I want to say this to Yamamoto, who flew the drone on how much we love him. In our organization, we're going to make sure we band behind you. We're going to make sure that the anti-nuclear establishment, and I want to say this about Kylie Fitzwater and Mrs. Child down there. It's funny, I can do protests right here in the backyard. The uranium spent fuel, 250,000 tons of DU6, the worst of the worst, the end of the cycle right here in Utah. I've been fighting. That's why I'm going to Austria, because these liars now die, because I'm going to the spent cycle symposium. The rats of all the king rats will be there. I'm going to go right in there and I'm going to crash that party. Watch me. Just like I did this at San Onofre. Watch me. I'm not afraid. I fear no. These people do not scare me. I mean, leukemia, it's like my nurse said, some hillbilly rat got into it with me, and she says, I don't think he's scared of you. And this is when I was sick. Still have my central line. He's been fighting the biggest bully in history, AML leukemia. I don't think you scare him, and I fear no evil. I didn't fear any evil before, but even now I'm Balco, literally injection in my stomach every day. So it's a big deal. That's why you have to do the work as a PhD or as an actual individual, as a person. That walk, I would never know any of this knowledge if it wasn't for that walk. Nobody knows it, because the California ecologists are just regurgitating each other's things. None of them will do any work because it's serfdom. The greatest PhD in opportunity in human history, and none of them took it. I took it. Oh, I took it. It's been right here for the whole world to see. That's what we're supposed to do as great teachers. The great professor is not some guy with his feet up. I mean, this guy for real. His boat's right. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to out this fraud. And there's these academics ugly. And by the way, these people that think they're in search, oh my God, have you seen their women? Ooh, the professor here, he's a chemist. You ought to see his wife. Oh my God. Ooh. And then, they got a baby, he's like my age. And I'm like, that's disturbing. And I saw the baby, it's like that Seinfeld. Ooh, I don't want to be in this club. These are some disturbing people. I mean, it's a club, and like they circle around like they're important. Nobody pays any attention to them anyway. No one cares. I'm an oceanographer? Ha! I mean, you think about that. I'm a baker, what's a cake? I'm a carpenter, what's a hammer? I'm an anti-globalist, what's a tariff? I mean, I'm an American, what's a revolution? I'm an oceanographer? I'm a climate changer? What's Fukushima? Really? The greatest ecological catastrophe in human history. Pacific Ocean, the greatest event, and it's going to unfold this summer. I'm here to tell you. The drought is so epic in California. And by the way, he's at Stanford pressing for a bullet train. Now, why does the Japanese Prime Minister even have a speaking part in California or the United States? I mean, that's how globalist they are. They think they got a speaking part all over the world. So, that's a big deal. 4 of them in the last few days. One's unheard of. One's unheard of. It's a big deal. The ocean's dying. Pacific genocide is very, very real. The ocean's dying. And the emperor has no fucking clothes. I mean, it's sad. It's unbelievable. So, I'll stay on this. As history looks back in time, that's all we could do now is document it. We tried screaming our heads off and early thought maybe somebody would stand up, and nobody would stand up and do anything. All we can do is record history now so people can go back, and this is the way it's going to play out. They're going to look back in history and say, oh my God, the Pacific genocide happened right in front of when they slaughtered the greatest food basket in the world, slaughtered it, and these people just stood back. And they're going to be able to go and look and see, and it's going to be recorded here. The marine biologists, the professors, all of them, you know, I mean, these are the greatest crimes against humanity and human history to cover up. I mean, it's outrageous to cover up. I mean, none of them will say one word. None of them will speak out. Not one single person will speak out. Not one, right, because they don't know how. They don't know how to study the ocean. The whole time I've walked up along there, and I've been along there for 3 years, 3.5, you know how many hours? You know how many days I spent going from San Diego all the way? USS Reagan trial, freaking, I mean, every single pier. I mean, I've walked up and down those beaches, at Scripps, all over, at UCLA, at San Diego State, talked to everybody I talked to. I mean, it's impossible. Right here. Marine biologists, professors, because it's serfdom, it's a club, it's free money. None of them do anything. These ugly rats just, you know, hire each other, hang around with each other, and call themselves, I mean, this guy, at Weber State, the professor of this university, is a chemist. I tell him, he won't even talk to me now, by the way. This dude's so ugly, so creepy. You know, they can all rot in hell as far as I'm concerned. They're gonna. As far as I'm concerned, every one of them should be hung. You know, if you want to think that's too harsh, bring back the guillotine. Seriously, bring back the guillotine. You know, personally, I think the mob should turn on them all. At Berkeley, at Stanford, all of them. All of them. I think there should be major riots, and I think they should be taken out, and I think they should be hung. And if you think that's too harsh, bring back the guillotine. And I'm not kidding. I want to show you something. This is what's going on even here. This is Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. We're going to bring out our military hardware. Every day is Mayday here. Sound familiar? All our money go to that. This is unheard of this time of year. Unheard of. Unheard of. Climate change on Balco. I mean, it's unheard of this time of year. Maybe in August. Get ready for the Dust Bowl. I'm here to tell you. Get ready. Get ready. And as I said, you know, I've been pro stock market the whole time while everybody else is telling you to buy gold and silver, short sold silver. You know, I made a lot of money staying my course, but get out. Get out for right now. Because the economic, you know, and I'm not, you know, who knows. But I don't think it's going to be a major washout. And I think gold will wash down too. I think it's going to be a deflationary time even. And if I had a house in California right now, I would have it for sale. And I would use full disclosure. I wouldn't lie. I would tell them, why are you selling it? Well, because of the drought and because of Fukushima. So they can't come back on you and say, well, we didn't know about Fukushima. Just tell them, because they'll just stare at you anyway, because they don't care, because America's too, like I said, you can't handle the fucking truth. Oh, is that, you know, Jack Nicholson, that role in that movie? Boy, did that come out to fruition. How can you tell them the truth? Because none of these fucking fainting goats, fucking these baby bombers, none of them can handle the fucking truth. So, I just saw it with my own eyes. Every single tide pool fucking dead. Big trees fucking dead. The drought's so fucking epic there. I'm telling you, people have no clue. People are so disconnected from there, just driving around their cars, they don't even say, I saw it. Reservoirs in the springtime, they're fucking, I mean, it's going to be epic. Mark my words. And there's going to be some economic repercussions. I don't know how it's going to play out, but, you know, they'll spin. That's what Aid's been doing here. First he goes to Harvard, then he goes to MIT Media Lab, then to Stanford. We know NSA. That's where NSA's run it. The whole cover-up. That we know. Ask Aaron Swartz. Ask anybody. I mean, ask Dr. Scheer at freaking USC. He'll tell you. You know. Of course, he won't even speak about Fukushima. It's outrageous. Of course, neither will Helen Caldicott. She's supposed to be the most famous anti-nuclear actress in the world. She told us right to her face. She told everybody to oppose me. No using the F word. And I don't mean that F word. Fukushima. Because they're all fundraisers. They're not really anti-nuclear. None of them. None of them. None of them. Oh, I am. Stand tuned, and history's going to record it. That I told the tale, and I did what I had to do. Thus I live. Stand tuned.